Hello and welcome to the ONIT Week 9 review show. Saturday brought us last-minute comebacks, explosive offensive performances across the country, and more shakeups throughout the top 25. Before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss a future preview or review video here on our YouTube channel, and stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can get involved in our upcoming episodes as we continue to connect fans and athletes through team-based collectibles. It's time to take a look at what's in the box.
What's in the box?
The Week 9 ONIT Recap box features our locally sourced and nationally relevant headlines for all of our top 25 teams. It also has 5 elite players that made the grade and got slabbed up thanks to their performances over the weekend. And it includes 3 last-minute comeback victories. We'll get into all of that right here. Let's begin. Kansas State versus Kansas. The Wildcats going on the road in a rivalry matchup, and boy, did they come through. 42-17, the final score in this contest. Avery Johnson looked electric in this game. He was balling. Could not be stopped. 11 of 17 for 231 yards, 2 touchdowns on the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground, as K-State rolled in this game, and a lot of those yards going to Jace Brown. 4 catches for 160 yards and a touchdown for the Wildcat wideout. He had a 78-yard touchdown at the end of the third quarter that basically all but put the game away. And in all 3 phases, Kansas State kind of dominated in this contest. They got after it on special teams with the fumble return touchdown early on. They forced a strip sack of Jalen Daniels that gave the Wildcats the ball back. And they also had 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, 4 total turnovers for Kansas, who couldn't muster a whole lot on the offensive side of the ball. Were held to just 3 points in the second half. And at the end of the day, the Wildcats walk out of Lawrence with their 17th straight victory in this rivalry matchup. Wow, what a game this was. Alabama on the road at South Carolina. 29-22. The Crimson Tide, backs against the wall, down to their final strike, looked like all hope was lost. And they proved why time and time again they are Alabama. Ty Simpson leads the drive down the field for the Crimson Tide, gets him into the end zone by finding Jeremy Bernard for the receiving touchdown. Then on defense, Deontay Lawson, when Lenora Sellers has his opportunity to go be the hero to show South Carolina why he is the guy for the Gamecocks. Deontay Lawson comes in and strips the ball, sets up Alabama for another Jeremy Bernard touchdown, this time to win the game. And Alabama outscores South Carolina 15-7 in the fourth quarter to walk away. They do all their damage in the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter as well. Just an insane game. The way it ended was absolutely phenomenal. And for the Crimson Tide, they finally get to go into that bye week. Ty Simpson continues to play well. He struggled at the start. He found himself later on in the game. And Jeremy Bernard, what a game with the game tying and then the game-winning scores in this one. For South Carolina, once again, the offense, it just wasn't there. A couple of field goals in the first half, not good enough. They finally get into the end zone in the second half, but Lenora Sellers and company have just been struggling to really get those big, explosive plays and game-changing plays, and we saw that once again today as Alabama wins it in the final couple of minutes. Our ONIT game of the week this week featured number 3 Texas A&M going to Baton Rouge to take on number 20 LSU. The Tigers were 20-1 underneath the lights in Tiger Stadium in the Brian Kelly area. We'll make that 20-2 now as Texas A&M rolled in the second half. It looked like it was going to be a game until halftime. 18-14 LSU led thanks to some great defensive plays, some good special teams, a blocked punt for a safety, Harold Perkins Jr., and an interception off a tip ball. But the Aggies in the second half come out and outscore LSU 35-7. We talked about Cassius Howell on the preview show. He ended up with 2 sacks, part of 5 on the day for this A&M defense as they forced Garrett Nussmeier to be pulled early on in the fourth quarter when the game was out of reach. Marcel Reed continued his Heisman campaign with 4 touchdowns in this game, including a nice 41-yard run to get A&M on the board for the very first time in the contest. Casey Concepcion had a receiving touchdown from Marcel Reed. He also had 2 huge punt returns in this game, both coming in the third quarter. He had a 79-yard touchdown on a special teams play, and then a long return to set up A&M with another touchdown that really broke LSU's spirit in this second half. So the Aggies go on the road. They win again. They remain undefeated, the number 3 team in the country, and LSU, with the loss, looking like they may fall outside of the polls. We'll see what happens on Sunday afternoon. But all in all, a very good game here in Baton Rouge. Taking a look at the rest of our ONIT team performances, Oklahoma fell at home to Ole Miss. John Mateer's accuracy was a big problem for the Sooners in this game. The question is that thumb injury still bothering him? Oklahoma likely going to fall down a couple of spots. And Missouri, so close on the road at Vandy, lost 17-10. The bigger news for the Tigers is Bo Pribula looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, if not an extended period. It is not good news for Missouri after they already suffered the loss at Vandy as well. Tennessee rolled on the road at Kentucky. Joey Aguilar was on fire in this game. 20 of 26, 396 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was deep shot after deep shot against a Wildcat defense that just could not hang with the explosive firepower of the Tennessee offense as the Volunteers get it done on the road. Meanwhile, Texas, I was ready to write them off going into the fourth quarter. They were down by 17, thought this is over. All the offensive concerns for Texas are back and rearing their head once again. And then the fourth quarter came around and they flipped a switch. Outscored Mississippi State 24-7. Ryan Niblett had a massive punt return for a touchdown that changed really the course of this game, got it into overtime for Texas, and then they managed to score a touchdown and hold Mississippi State to nothing in the overtime period. What a win for the Longhorns. Who knows if they'll be ranked come the end of the day today, but they got it done in a hostile environment somehow to improve to 6-2. Arizona State at number 24 could not get it done at home against a Houston team that is kind of shocking everyone, as Arizona State, just as they looked like they were going to get their season back, turned around. Sam Leavitt was back. They just won at home against Texas Tech. Things were falling into place for the Sun Devils. Unable to do anything offensively. They did have a touchdown wiped off the board that could have changed the game in this one, but at the end of the day, only able to score in the fourth quarter in a 24-16 loss. And Michigan ran all over Michigan State, 31-20. Justice Haynes, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Wolverines win a rivalry contest against the Spartans, and they should be moving up in the polls with all the turmoil in front of them. You look at Arizona State, Illinois, Texas, LSU. Wolverines have a chance to be potentially top 20 this week. We'll see how it all shakes out. Arkansas, meanwhile, not able to snag a win at home. They took on Auburn. Things were looking good for Taylon Green and the squad, but then all of a sudden, just a fourth quarter collapse for Arkansas as they fall at the hands of Auburn, 33-24. Taylon Green was 14 of 22 for 268 yards and a touchdown. Arkansas scored 21 points in the second quarter. Offensively, they were on fire, but at the end of the day, just couldn't contain Auburn in the second half. They got outscored 23-3 in the second half of this game to drop to 2-6, while Boise State picked up a commanding, you could call it that, I guess, victory over Nevada, 24-3. The scoreline certainly shows a commanding win. It was really anything but for the Broncos, who struggled massively on the offensive side of the ball, but the defense, boy, did they come to play. Jeremiah Irby with 2 interceptions in the game. You might hear about him later in making the grade. And the Broncos defense as a whole forced 5 takeaways in the contest to secure their large victory. Iowa State was unable to overcome 3 Rocco Becht interceptions, including a pick 6, as they fell 41-27 at home against number 11 BYU. Cyclones were amazing on offense in the first half, but in the second half just couldn't make the adjustments necessary to go on and win the game. While Nebraska slugged one out with Northwestern in Lincoln, 28-21 Cornhuskers victory. They got a late interception that gave them the ball back, allowed them to go on the game-winning drive when Emmett Johnson punched in a touchdown with under 3 to go for his second rushing score of the day. He had 27 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a Cornhusker win. For Oklahoma State, Cowboys fans, I am sorry. That's all we're going to say about that. And Washington, what a win for the Huskies at home on Montlake in Seattle. They tossed 5 passing touchdowns, 4 from Damon Williams Jr., 1 from Denzel Boston, who also has a receiving touchdown, and they upset number 23 Illinois at home at Husky Stadium. Big win for the Huskies. People have been talking about, should the Huskies be ranked? Well, they certainly have their opportunity to now after the top 25 win. 42-25 the final score. Williams 26 of 33, 280 yards, and the 4 touchdowns I mentioned previously. Denzel Boston 10 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. Jonah Coleman 14 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Also caught the pass from Boston. That was a touchdown. Huskies were on fire offensively. All of their superstars got involved, and that is a scary team when the offense is humming. They did lose to Michigan, but the Huskies might find themselves in the polls with all of the 20-25 movement that we're going to have this weekend. Lastly, we've got West Virginia, a 23-17 loss to TCU. TCU put up 20 points on West Virginia in the first half. The Mountaineers tried to claw it back, but were just unable to do so. A fourth quarter rally came up just a bit short. They did manage to score a touchdown, but couldn't get into the end zone for the second time like they needed to do to take the win in this game. And we move on to making the grade. Let's see our 5 players that got slabbed up due to their performance this weekend. Welcome to Making the Grade for Week 9, where we take a look at the best performances of the weekend. Before we begin, because we believe at NIL for all here at ONIT, want to start with an honorable mention for special teams. Ryan Niblett, the punt returner for Texas, had a touchdown on a return. Once again, he continues to do it. That really changed the game for Texas, helped them win in overtime, so he gets an honorable mention. All right, let's start it off with our near mint 8s. Beginning with Denzel Boston from the Washington Huskies. We just talked about him in the Husky recap. 10 catches, over 150 yards, and a touchdown. Also threw for a score in this game to Jonah Coleman on a little trick play. He left the game for like a play, maybe 2 plays, because he got banged up, but he came right back in, continued to dominate against the Illinois secondary. He gets an Earman 8 for a great performance. And Cassius Howell, this guy who we talked about on the checklist on Thursday, well, that came to fruition with 2 sacks out of the 5 total that the Texas A&M defense had against Nussmeier. He really anchored that defensive line, was beating the freshman left tackle over and over again in this game, giving Nussmeier no time to throw in the pocket. So Howell earns a near min 8 as well. Moving on to our 9s, starting off with Jeremiah Irby of the Boise State Broncos. Again, NIL for all. We keep up with the defensive players. Irby had 2 interceptions, the first 2 INT game of his career in a 24-3 Bronco victory. Also added in 4 tackles in that game. And then for Kansas State, Jace Brown. Nice little game from him. 4 catches, 160 yards, and a touchdown. Had a 78-yard score in the third quarter that really took all the wind out of the Jayhawks' sails. Did it on the road in Lawrence as well, as he performed phenomenally and accounted for almost 70% of Avery Johnson's passing yards in the contest. But there can only be 110. Make sure you let us know down in the comments who you think deserves the 10 this week and vote on your favorite players of the week. But our 10 is Jeremy Bernard of Alabama. He scored the game-tying and the game-winning touchdowns for the Crimson Tide as they narrowly avoided the upset on the road in Columbia. 29-22, the victory over South Carolina. Bernard had a receiving touchdown out of the backfield to get Alabama within a 2-point conversion of tying the ball game. They got that 2-point conversion, and then on the very next drive, after DeMonte Lawson forced a strip sack, it was Bernard who ran it in from the quarterback position, a 25-yard rushing touchdown to win the game for Alabama. He gets our 10 this week. Let us know if you agree or disagree down in the comments and tell us who you think it should have been as we take a look ahead to Week 10. Got a number of ONIT versus ONIT matchups as we start off taking a look at Oklahoma at Tennessee. That'll be a game with two teams that should both be in the top 20. Looking forward to that one. Then we have Penn State at Ohio State. This was everyone's preseason battle that they were looking forward to. We'll see what comes of it this weekend with two teams on opposite trajectories this season. Arizona State at Iowa State is another ONIT matchup, both trying to get back on track after disappointing losses this weekend. Vanderbilt goes to Texas. Who knows what could happen in Austin after that offensive explosion from the Longhorns. USC at Nebraska highlights another ONIT versus ONIT matchup in the Big Ten. Then you have South Carolina fresh off their upset bid against Alabama. Could they do it against the Rebels? We'll see as Kansas travels to Oklahoma State in an ONIT versus ONIT matchup. And Kansas State heads to Lubbock to play Texas Tech after winning in the Sunflower Showdown. Georgia will be at Florida. The Gators trying to pull an upset as well against the Dogs. And Purdue goes to Michigan as Michigan coming off their win against the Spartans, trying to remain inside the top 25. Those are the games we're looking forward to here this week at ONIT. If you want to get involved in our Week 10 preview show or any of our future episodes, make sure that you drop your hits in the link down below. It'll be in the description for you as well. But you can submit your best polls, whether it comes out of packs, boxes, TikTok, whatnot. Doesn't matter to us. We want to share your hits with the community. So join in by sending your best polls to the link down below. Appreciate everyone tuning in to the Week 9 ONIT Recap Show. We'll see you on Thursday for the Week 10 preview. And make sure you check out that AP poll reaction coming to you on Mondays. Thanks so much, everyone. This is Leonard saying so long for Week 9.